Committee members, we will now turn to Senate File 215. And Senator Ruud, this is your Explore Minnesota Tourism Appropriation Bill. And welcome to your committee. And we will turn the floor over to you.
Mr. Chair and members, thank you. This is rather imposing to be on this side of the chair. So today we have before us Senate File 215. It's the Explore Minnesota Tourism Appropriation. There is not a whole lot of policy in this for our commission, but I did want to, because we have the Explore Minnesota Tourism Council. Many of the members are here for a meeting and a conference. We thought it would be great for them to have the ability to come forward and testify on this. It's something that's near and dear to my heart. And so before you leave, you will see that we have the new Explore Minnesota cereal boxes for you on the end of the counter. And they have an amazing amount of tourism information for you to digest. With that, I have with me Sara Psick with the Minnesota Tourism Growth Council. And who is going to join you first? And Terry Mattson from Visit St. Paul. Welcome. And please identify yourself for the tape.
Perfect.
Did I steal your thunder? With
No. I just wanted to show you how you can put this together. All right. Mr. Chair and members, thank you. My name is Sara Psick, and I represent the Minnesota Tourism Growth Coalition. We were established in 2013 as a grassroots effort comprised of tourism organizations and businesses all across the state of Minnesota. And the coalition was created to coordinate activities to increase the marketing budget of Explore Minnesota Tourism through an awareness of the importance of the tourism industry in Minnesota. Tourism really is the front door to economic development in our state. For every $1 invested in tourism, an estimated $98 in traveler spending and $9 in state and local taxes is generated. You have a handout at your desk that highlights some of the other economic impact of tourism. And I'm going to turn it over to Terry Mattson with Visit St. Paul and a member of our Minnesota Tourism Growth Coalition. And like Senator Ruud said, we have a lot of tourism folks in the audience today. It's Hospitality and Tourism Day at the Capitol here, and then starting tomorrow is the Explore Minnesota Tourism Annual Conference, which will have hundreds of tourism folks in St. Paul.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, Senator Ruud, Senators, my name is Terry Mattson. I'm the President and CEO of Visit St. Paul and the St. Paul River Center. Tourism and hospitality is very important to Minnesota, and this legislation is very important to the tourism and hospitality industry. Corporations like Viking River Cruises, Disney, for example, they do a very good job of marketing themselves. Small businesses in all four corners of Minnesota, small business throughout greater Minnesota, and also here in the metro, isn't so fortunate. We really need the horsepower and the marketing and sales strength that comes from Explore Minnesota Tourism. Our state tourism organization does a remarkable job, and it's vitally important that they're funded at a competitive level. We're very thankful for the increases that have come in recent years, but it's more important than ever that this is an adequately funded effort, that we continue to raise the bar and continue to be aspirational in the way we approach this important economic development tool. Tourism in the state of Minnesota is about a $14.4 billion annual industry. Those are some big numbers. Tourism in this state supports nearly 260,000 full and part-time jobs, a total of 11% of private sector employment, about $5.1 billion in wages, and 17% of all state sales taxes is generated from tourism and hospitality. The face of our industry is very diverse. Tourism and related traveler spending supports a wide variety of Main Street businesses and indirectly supports jobs in many other industries, as well as opening doors for other economic sectors. Minnesota continues to be vastly outspent by our competitors in the effort to draw visitors and their dollars from other states. By losing market share and drawing a smaller part of the pool of travelers, Minnesota limits the opportunities to grow revenue and jobs that tourism generate. The Minnesota Tourism Growth Coalition supports Senate File 215, which provides an increase to the Explore Minnesota Tourism base budget for marketing, increases funding for technology, and continues funding for the major events funding program throughout the state of Minnesota. We're very thankful to Senator Rood for sponsoring this bill and for your strong support of tourism. We look forward to continuing the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. State your name for the record. Or are you going first? I'll go first. Okay.
Senators, Chairperson, thank you so much for listening to us today. My name is Megan Christensen, and I'm the Executive Director of Visit Grand Rapids. Today, I'm speaking on behalf of Greater Minnesota. Greater Minnesota encompasses small to medium-sized destination marketing organizations, or also known as convention visitor bureaus. We represent diverse Minnesota destinations from 1,000 Grand Lakes to Prairie Land and everything in between. We are primarily rural, with populations in size of a couple thousand to tens of thousands. We market and promote to lure visitors to our specific locations within Minnesota. Our annual budgets range from tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands. Explore Minnesota tourism grants and co-ops allow us to stretch our marketing dollars and take part in advertising opportunities that we would not have been able to otherwise. We rely on Explore Minnesota Tourism to market the state in order for potential visitors to be aware of the diverse travel opportunities we have in our state. I now share with you my personal experiences from running a convention visitor bureau in rural northern Minnesota. Visit Grand Rapids is located in Itasca County. Itasca County has had an increase in tourism economy by over $5 million. From the years 2013 to 2015, which is an increase of 8.5%. Itasca County employs 1,500 in their leisure and hospitality industry. Tourism is one of our main 3 industry sectors: taconite, timber, and tourism. Visit Grand Rapids takes part in Explore Minnesota tourism grant opportunities and co-op marketing opportunities. These co-ops have allowed us to promote the Grand Rapids, Minnesota area in publications that we would not be possible otherwise. These co-ops bring down the cost of advertisement an average of 40% savings, and to expand on Minnesota destinations that align with specific niche marketing. Visit Grand Rapids has found a good return on investment through these marketing opportunities. Some of them include motorcycling through Roadrunner magazine and through Explore Minnesota Tourism's motorcycle resource pages. Bass fishing, Iowa Sportsman, and Explore Minnesota Tourism and Minnesota DNR fishing resource pages. Family leisure, TwinCities.com e-blast programs. These are just to name a few. Visit Grand Rapids this year was not able to take advantage of the EMT Events Grant funding due to the short timeline. We are excited for the opportunity to apply in future if the dollars are made available again. Increasing the Explore Minnesota tourism budget will continue to expand the marketing co-ops and grant opportunities that are essential for Greater Minnesota destination marketing organizations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Senators. I'm Anna Tansky, the president of Visit Duluth, and I would like to encourage all of you to visit Duluth this year. And to elaborate on the grants portion that we referenced, the special event grant pilot program was significant, and we were so grateful to see those resources provided to Explore Minnesota because it really opened the door to many communities in Greater Minnesota who really rely on the support of the State Tourism Office. One example for us in Duluth, we had a grant awarded in the very first cycle through the University of Minnesota Duluth to bring an event called the Icebreaker Hockey Tournament through our campus. Its estimated economic impact is $2.94 million. 14,000 attendees over a 3-day event for us is enormous and quite significant to our economy. In addition to that will be the earned media coverage on regional and national television. It's going to be televised to an estimated 600,000 viewers. And beyond that is the tremendous exposure that it brings to our community in just a 3-day window. And when you look at the impact that these dollars have through one community We know that the potential is there if the funding is continued on, because this program is getting legs. The second round of grants will go out very soon, and we went from 1 application and 1 award in the first round to 6 applicants this time. So these are grants that go to event organizers to help defray the organizational and operational expenses to put on these events that they maybe otherwise don't have the resources to do on their own. And we, as individual destinations and cities, don't always have the resources available to us. So it is a true partnership, and we are stretching these dollars and really bringing it to every corner of the state. So with your support the last time around, we are so thankful for that, and we would like to continue building on that momentum that it's creating. Thank you.
Who's next? Welcome.
Hello, I'm Christy Riley, and I represent Southern Minnesota. I'm from the very southwest corner of the state in Slayton, Minnesota, a population of only 2,200 people. So I am definitely in a small town area that we take advantage of any co-op opportunities we get a chance to do. Our community has a advertising budget of less than $5,000, and we are solely based on tourism with Lake Chetek and a lot of the historic sites in southwest Minnesota. So being able to co-op with some of the opportunities that that Explore Minnesota Tourism gives us is a huge boost to those in greater Minnesota. We may have, I'm also representing Southern Minnesota. I'm the Governor's Council rep for Southern Minnesota, so I want to do a little shout out to the rest of the 36 counties across the state. We have a lot of larger destinations, such as Rochester with the medical destination and Mankato, but most of us kind of benefit from those non-traditional tours, some of the small families that just come in for a quick weekend, taking advantage of our parks and our trail systems. Camping is huge in our area. They'll come in and we do a lot of camping surveys, asking them how much economic development impact it has on our communities. Many of them come in for a weekend, they'll camp, they'll shop in the grocery stores, they'll get their gas in our communities, or go out to eat in our small town restaurants. And on average, they're spending about $500 in a given weekend, and that's so important to our small communities and our small businesses. I want to tell you of a story that impacted us specifically from Explore Minnesota Tourism. They have travel information centers across the state, and they bring their staff every once in a while on a tour of the different regions. And just a few years ago, they came to southwest Minnesota, and after their meetings were complete, they took a tour. And we saw kind of a big jump in numbers of how many people were coming off of I-90, heading north and getting off the beaten trails and coming to visit our area. We have a small park that's located in Curry, Minnesota. It's a railroad museum. And several of the visitors said that they had heard about us because they stopped at the Dresbach Travel Information Center on the outside of the Wisconsin border. And that person in the staff center told them to get off the beaten path and go see some of these smaller communities. And they actually gave a map of all the different spots to hit on their way out to Mount Rushmore. And we saw just a huge impact just for those people coming out to visit. And the education that Explore Minnesota Tourism gives to their staff, as well as all the other communities, is really a huge economic indicating factor for our small towns. Just as another little shout out to Southern Minnesota, we're not probably the most well known. We're not northern Minnesota. We don't have all the woods, but we do have the beautiful South Shore by Lake Pepin, and we can go rock climbing in Laverne off of Buffalo Ridge. Beautiful rock climbing out there. Spilmer Motor Classics has one of the biggest privately owned collections in the entire upper Midwest, located in Worthington. A lot of small communities have free parks that you can come visit, and we're not taking advantage of the money that's coming into those parks as much as we are trying to get the impact to our small businesses. So even though we're not well known, we do continue to need the support of Explore Minnesota to continue to market our area. We ask that you give some more extra money to the marketing of Explore Minnesota, and as well as their technology. We also take advantage of the new, exciting new opportunities that are out there, and the new millennials that are using technology to find their trips and be out there. So anything that you can do to help continue tourism in our state is greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Penny?
Hi, my name is Karen Singer, and I am president of the CMR, which is the Community of Minnesota Resorts. And my husband and I also have Cedar Point Resort and Campground, which is in northern Minnesota in Marcel. Hopefully, some of you have been there. And we have 13 cabins, some campsites, et cetera. And so just so you have a little background of where I'm coming from, the small resort, I think tourism is so important to many aspects, not just resorts. To me, I think tourism, I think resorts. But you have all of the destinations, you have the parks, you have all of the events, and all of that's very important. And I think that I don't necessarily need to speak about all the events because that was very well represented here. And the funding for that is vital to get people out there. Getting people to resorts is not just important to me, but it's also important just to the whole industry in general. They could stay at a hotel, that's awesome. They can stay at a bed and breakfast. They also can stay at a resort. There's a number of different options. The advertising opportunities that we have as a small business on our own is very, very limited. You know, our budgets don't always have commas in them when you talk about small businesses, but we do take advantage of the funds that Explore Minnesota offers, for example, the CMR, and we're able to get our names out there. And it isn't just for our businesses, but it's also just to show what a family experience is. You know, we hear millennials and we hear, you know, everybody's on their computers, and that's true, and I am too, but I'm not a millennial. But just getting people out in nature, we just need to be able to keep that unique experience out there because that isn't everywhere. So if you go to Greater Minnesota or anywhere in Minnesota and go to a resort, you're going to have a unique experience. So we, as individual businesses, are able to keep people coming. You know, word of mouth is great advertising, so it's my job to get people to come back to our resorts as well as other resorts. But Explore Minnesota is vital to get people to come in and to experience it to begin with. So the funds are well used. It's used for the events, but also for the small mom and pop resorts and tourism in general. So I know that our organization takes advantage of some of the co-op advertising as a group, and it's vital to keep the small businesses going. So we appreciate all that support and hope that it will continue on.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. Thank you for my great testifiers from all over the state, and we'll stand for questions.
Well, thank you, Senator Rood, and I do want to take this opportunity to thank all the testifiers on behalf of the committee. You certainly, I think, much as this committee is represented from the prairie to the North Woods to the metro, you've done a good job of providing testifiers to cover those same areas. The one item that I'd like to just ask a quick question on is regarding the revenue for information technology improvements. And I understand that there are I understand what you're saying when you talk about millennials and their electronic attachment, which is probably more so than who is one of the last legs of the baby boomers, can maybe utilize us. But could someone share a little more detail as to what those, any of the testifiers, as to what those technology improvements might be, or at least in a general sense? Who, me?
Right on cue.
Please.
You know, Mr. Chair, we can't have a tourism discussion without our illustrious Mr. Edmond.
Okay. Welcome to the committee, and please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members. My name is John Edmond. I'm the director of Explore Minnesota. Mr. Chairman, if I understood your question was regarding the need for technology improvements. Our website has not been really improved upon, at least for 4 years. You constantly need to provide content, provide personalization, more videos. The need for that is to reinvest in ways to engage with consumers, to better connect them with businesses all throughout the state. We can't sit on our laurels. We need to continually have content that's comparable to our competition, and we need an investment in technology to do that. So that was the reason for the request, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any other questions from the committee? Yes. Senator Eichhorn.
And this could be a question for you, Mr. Edmund. Earlier, first of all, thank you to Megan Christensen, who's from my district. So it's always fun to see someone from your own district, especially when you're a greater Minnesota representative, senator in my case. Don't see as many people from your district. But one thing we had talked about earlier is what our budget is and compared to neighboring states and other states throughout the country. And to my understanding, we spend a lot less money than neighboring states, and it might be important for the committee to maybe kind of hear where we're at compared to other states.
Certainly, Mr. Chairman. Senator, Minnesota right now is about in the middle of the pack. The last chart that I saw, we were 22nd in the country in terms of total budget. You need, however, to compare even further to where we are next to our nearest competitors. We are substantially lower than Michigan, than Illinois, than Missouri, lower than even Wisconsin. South Dakota actually has a budget just slightly, the last chart that I saw, slightly below us, at about $13 to $13.9 million on an annual basis. However, their funding is based on a statewide lodging tax, so they're automatically scheduled for increases. We need to make our case to the legislature every year that we are getting the return on investment in order to make the request of the case for additional funding.
Just a comment now, not a question. But Mr. Mattson had mentioned that we're not like a Disney World or something like that that can sell themselves, and that sure is the truth. A lot of us here realize, what we have, but there's a lot of people in the state that are newcomers or have been here for a long time that don't realize what we have, and we have a pretty good thing here in Minnesota. And I've seen like Anna had spoken about from Visit Duluth, that they really do stretch the dollars a long way, and they do a lot for the little bit amount of money they get, and they do some really good things, and that's evident in the things that Visit Grand Rapids do. So I'm very happy to support this and thankful for the testifiers that were here today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Any other comment? Yes, Senator Torres-Ray.
Wondering if there will be someone here in the audience who can talk to us kind of about the big picture of where these 10 million kind of fit into the larger budget right now. So how much money, because I don't remember, what is the total budget of the organization, the agency. And there is I think this is such a great opportunity for us. In my district, people have been very dismayed with the conversation about the divide between rural and urban, and a lot of people are talking about spending more time in rural Minnesota, talking to families about how to connect with businesses, and so it's kind of an interesting time for us to propose that, and I wonder, how the funding could be utilized to provide those, I don't think incentives, but what can we do to advertise more, for instance, in urban core, where people really want to go and spend their money there and, attract families. And do we know what kind of families are coming, or what districts tend to visit other districts? I'm more curious about kind of those very practical elements about how much is the funding, how much do we need, and what is being done with the money right now in terms of bringing, from areas to areas within Minnesota.
Okay. Mr. Edwards?
Certainly, Mr. Chairman, Senator, our budget right now is $14 million, roughly. Again, to the previous question, that puts us about 21st in the country. The additional dollars that are being discussed here are dollars that would be put into the marketplace. It wouldn't be utilized for administration or overhead. It's to reach consumers both in our core markets as well as our expansion markets and even beyond. Our core markets primarily consist of Minnesota and the surrounding states. Those travelers are very important to Minnesota. We also need to strengthen our penetration within those markets to reach more people, both within the metro area as well as with key demographics throughout the five-state area. We also are reaching out a little bit farther into places like Chicago, Kansas City, and Denver, where there is a lot of competition, and we're trying to make some awareness because we want to achieve, basically, we want to reach a $20 billion industry. We're at about $14 billion right now as an industry, but we want to become a $20 billion industry by the year 2020. For us to do that, we really need to expand our penetration and our awareness in reaching out to consumers, not just those that are right here, and those that are being targeted by a lot of other competition, by the Michigans and the South Dakotas, but also we need to reach new consumers. We also want to make Minnesota a bit more of a global destination as well. We have tremendous opportunities here with the airport, Minneapolis-St. Paul, and we have direct connections to flights all throughout the world. And if we really do want to take advantage of those opportunities, those people that are connecting into Minneapolis-St. Paul that maybe want to stop here, these dollars will allow us to provide a deeper reach beyond just even domestically, but internationally as well.
Thank you.
Could I have a follow-up, Senator? Thank you, Mr. Chair. Could you give me an example when you say, we want to do this targeting, we want to go globally? How do you do that? How do you use these dollars? Could you give me examples of outside of a TV ad? What do you do to attract people from all over the world?
Certainly. Mr. Chairman, first of all, beyond just television, broadcast television is still an important element of our advertising, but it's still actually less than half of our total resources. We have to use a lot more. We probably use almost 60% of our budget in terms of digital marketing, reaching consumers in digital means. And the way that we now target consumers is not a broad message, but when we want to target fishing to people that are interested in fishing, target people that are interested in skiing, people that are interested in culinary tourism. You try to reach consumers where those consumers happen to be consuming media. So a lot of that is digital, a lot of that is social, and when we're talking global marketing, we don't have the resources to do consumer marketing globally, but we work with media and tour operators, get the media to come here and to write positive stories about Minnesota for their publications, for their consumers, for their tour operators, as well as getting tour operators here to experience firsthand the product and put the product in their catalogs that then they can sell directly to consumers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Yes,
Senator Torres-Ray, I just, for bringing folks in and more awareness, there is a kind of a fun, and it's social media, so we're kind of targeting the millenniums, and it's hashtag Only in Minnesota. And so we have the whole group of people that are, when they go do a fun event or they're doing something, they take a photo and they put information in, hashtag Only in Minnesota. And it reaches a really broad audience. And I know that your office then a lot of time retweets that out. And so it really gives an awareness of really individual things that are going on in Minnesota that people can take advantage of, or maybe go to that event, or maybe they didn't know there was snowshoeing in this community or a trail here. And so it's kind of low budget, but it's really successful because it hits the digital market and those folks. And so I think Explore Minnesota Tourism has been very involved and engaged in that kind of informational technology. And the other thing I would like to talk to about is the third portion of this bill. Last year we started that as a pilot program. It was a grant process, and it's been very successful. Sometimes our small communities would like to bid on an event to bring that event to their community, but they're not quite sure how the bid process works. Do they have enough hotel rooms? Do they have enough transportation? And so this piece allows them the ability to use Explore Minnesota to bring that event, to get that bid and to bring that into their communities, just as Duluth did with their event. And so that's been a really successful piece, and we're really excited that we can come back to you and say, that was successful, we want to do it some more.
Senator Swedzinski.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to thank all the presenters for your enthusiasm and exuberance for our wonderful state. And you guys have great jobs where you just get to go promote us. And so on the $1 investment and getting $9 back is really wonderful. But my question, do you know exactly where the organization is that tries to get Hollywood Films don't we somehow as a state have some organization or a group that's their function to try to get Hollywood to come here and?
Yes, and we do snow bait, and that's the film board. And they work very hard in bringing that here. And you'll see some bills coming forth for some tax incentives to bring those events here.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Senator Senjum.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Senator Ruder, your witness, I'm just kind of exploring, if you will, lines 111 to 116. And it looks like there we're going to, at least over a couple of a biennium, use $750,000 to, first of all, to assist in the funding of securing major events. And is that, so is the assistant funding, is that to kind of buy down local costs associated with an event coming to a certain city, whatever it might be? What is the funding?
Senator
what will that be
Senjum,
used for? Do we know at this point?
Yes, this is to help not buy down the cost, but they may need technical assistance and how to bid the larger event coming in. It's a big process to put everything together to get a bid. Your hotel rooms, your transportation. It's a big undertaking to bring a big event to your community, and so this just helps them organize that and helps them to bid on it.
And Mr. Chair.
Yes, Senator Senjum.
And then on lines 112 and 113. I'm not seeing that distinguishing between in-state money and out-state money. For instance, if the League of Minnesota Cities, kind of major for Rochester, if they come to Rochester, that's like major, but we're just spending Minnesota money. And whereas, the International Society of Urology comes to Rochester, that's good out-state money. That's added revenue to our state and so on and so forth. Is the bill meant to both spin, or at least identify within, evaluating impacts and all that on the lower three lines? Is it meant to both evaluate in-state money or as well as out-state money, so to speak, if you understand what I'm saying?
Ms. Psick.
Mr. Chair and Senator Senjum, Sara Psick with Minnesota Tourism Growth Coalition. So the first round of funding that was approved last year in the supplemental budget bill, Explore Minnesota Tourism and the Tourism Council developed a set of grant guidelines for that. The goal of the program, or the purpose of the program, was to provide assistance. Well, it was to attract events that are not currently happening in Minnesota. So, for instance, there's a lumberjack and lumberjill competition that's been happening in other states, trying to put together a bid package to bring that to a community in Minnesota. A small community, oftentimes just to bid on that type of event is like a $20,000 bid fee. And so through this program, there could be they can apply, put together, a lot of financials of what they think the lodging will be for that event, the economic impact, what the costs are. Sometimes you have to, agree to put up TV towers that a local community can't always do on their own without a little extra assistance. So this grant program, the community has to assemble some of their own funding, either through private businesses, chambers, the Convention and Visitors Bureau, and they can apply for a grant through EMT through this fund. So it's meant to bring events that aren't currently happening. It's not meant to move an event from Rochester to Bemidji or from Bemidji to Duluth or Minneapolis to St. Paul. It's meant to bring in things that currently haven't happened here and that type of program. So last year when the funds were approved in the 2016 session, it was a short time window because we were nearing, we were in the second year of a biennium. And so a lot of communities started getting their ideas together, and there's a lot of communities and a lot of ideas that did not get funded in that first cycle. And so we've put in the request to continue that funding and try to get more of these events and more communities able to participate in that program.
Senator Senjum.
Chair, I absolutely agree with you. But then when I read the bill, I don't see that distinguishing with language in that way. I think if I were the lawyer reading this bill, looks like I got to monitor both the spending of in-state money as well as the money that might be brought in from out-state. And I don't think the language is there. That's all I'm saying.
So, Mr. Chair and Senator Senjum, after last session ended and the first round was approved, there's a whole section, and Mr. Edmond can talk to this too, all the grant guidelines were developed and worked through EMT as well as DEED to make sure that the grant guidelines are very thorough and very specific. And I don't know if you want to add to that, but the language is not as specific as the actual grant guidelines.
Please proceed, if you have a comment.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, Senator, I would just add, Senator, if you would go to exploreminnesota.com, our industry portion of the site, the guidelines there are written, and it does specify that an event could not have been in Minnesota within the last 3 years. So it reflects the intention to bring new events to Minnesota versus just moving events around from community to community. And it is also a competitive bidding process by which the communities have to make the bids. There's an independent group that evaluates them to see if they follow those guidelines, and awards are only made if they meet those criteria.
And Mr. Chair, and I don't want to sound like a pastor, even persist on this too long, but I always taught that if it's, the language is the language. If it's not in the language, it doesn't count. And I don't see any reference to any guidelines of the agency within the bill. And so, and again, we can leave it. But to me, the bill says you count everything, and it doesn't exclude in-state versus out-state. I'll just stop there.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. And certainly that's probably an item that the author and the members here could, or the testifiers here could work on if you so choose at some point. So, are there any other questions or any further comments? Seeing none, at this point, Senator Ruud renews the motion that Senate File 215 be recommended to pass and be re-referred to the Committee on Environment and Natural Resources Finance. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion's carried. And with that, is there anything else, Madam Chair, you wish to announce to the committee?
Mr. Chair and members, we have two very important bills coming up on Wednesday. Appreciate everybody being here on time, and we'll take some good testimony there. And thank you all very much.
Thank you. And with that, the committee stands adjourned.